From high above, the eagle descends, turning the sky into its absolute hunting domain. Each dive reaches speeds that leave little time for any reaction. Sharp vision locks onto a target from distances few species can even perceive. Even rugged terrain offers little protection to those below. At the peak of its power, is there any creature capable of facing the eagle head-on? Snakes are among the most formidable predators in the natural world. Flexible bodies, rapid reflexes, and, in many species, potent venom mean that even the slightest misjudgment in distance carries consequences. For eagle species that hunt snakes, the advantage lies in protective anatomy and precision strikes. Each encounter becomes a test between sky and ground. Along the coasts of the Asia-Pacific region, the white-bellied sea eagle exploits a key weakness of sea snakes. Despite their aquatic adaptation, many species must surface to breathe at intervals of over 30 minutes. That brief moment becomes a critical opportunity. From above, the eagle reads the water's surface, chooses a sun-favored approach, and descends with precision to pull the target away from its familiar environment. Even a few seconds of delay can significantly reduce the snake's ability to respond. Across the African continent, this strategy becomes more varied. The battler eagle often flies low, applying pressure that disrupts a snake's movement. Meanwhile, the black-chested snake eagle maintains altitude, waiting for an opening before delivering a decisive grab. Targets such as the black mamba or the boomslang become true tests of control and accuracy for these birds of prey. These successes provide not only energy for adults, but also support the growth of their young. By overcoming venomous snakes, eagles reinforce their role as highly effective predators. In this world, the advantage always belongs to those who act at the right moment. On the frigid mountain slopes of North America, the mountain goat stands as a symbol of balance. An adult can weigh close to 300 pounds, equipped with split hooves that provide extraordinary grip on slopes steeper than 60 degrees. Yet even this solid rock fortress does not escape the watchful gaze of the golden eagle. It waits patiently for the moment when a narrow path forces the herd to lose cohesion. The dive creates pressure that weakens the animal's ability to hold its footing. At this edge of survival, even a brief lapse in focus can determine the outcome. Rather than lifting, the eagle strikes with talons exerting around 400 pounds per square inch, pulling the goat off the edge and causing it to lose control on the steep terrain. In this environment, the rugged landscape becomes the aerial hunter's greatest ally. Its effectiveness increases when working in pairs. the male approaches head-on as a distraction, creating an opening for the female to descend from behind at speeds exceeding 90 miles per hour. This coordinated strategy applies continuous pressure, forcing younger goats to move too quickly across dangerous ground. When the encounter ends, the eagle carries this valuable energy back to a high, exposed nest. A meal gathered among the windswept peaks becomes the foundation for raising the next generation. On the African savannah, antelopes are among the most enduring runners of the land. With streamlined bodies, long legs, and burst speeds of around 55 miles per hour, they can quickly create distance from threats across the open grasslands. However, survival becomes far more challenging for the young. A single moment of hesitation can expose a fragile gap, clearly visible from above, to a martial eagle in flight. As one of the largest birds of prey on the continent, the martial eagle observes patiently before selecting an individual that has drifted slightly out of formation. Its wings fold tightly as it descends at high speed, using an optimal angle of approach. Reaching speeds of over 140 miles per hour, the strike disrupts balance and isolates the target from the safety of the group. The mother antelope turns back with determination, attempting to shield and regain control of the situation. But the trajectory has already been set. The aerial hunter adjusts swiftly with powerful wing control, securing its advantage before rising back into the sky. As the dust settles, the wild returns to its natural stillness. In this demanding environment, success does not belong to the fastest runner, but to the one that acts with precise timing when formation begins to break. Within the rainforests of Central and South America, monkeys embody collective agility. Flexible hands, gripping tails, and coordinated warning systems connect them like a living network. Amid the dense green maze, they seem to hold a clear advantage. But against the harpy eagle, that advantage is quickly put to the test. Unlike eagles that rely on altitude and long dives, the harpy is a close-range specialist. It remains motionless in concealment, then suddenly drives through layers of foliage with powerful wings. Talons reaching nearly 5 inches in length allow it to secure a target in an instant. Its strength lies not in display speed, but in its ability to neutralize the grip advantage of its prey. With force comparable to that of much larger animals, the harpy reads subtle openings among thousands of leaves. Even tree-dwelling species high above struggle to maintain their advantage when approached without warning. In such a confined space, even a slight delay in response can make the difference. Where light filters through the canopy, the advantage belongs to the one that understands the environment best. If the golden eagle rules the sky with its powerful wingspan, then the hare stands as a ghost of speed across the wild ground. An adult hare possesses sharp reflexes and an unpredictable ability to change direction in an instant. This instinct makes it a highly challenging target, where every successful escape feels like a narrow miracle. As a dark shadow closes in at speeds of around 150 miles per hour, the hare reacts with a sudden 90-degree turn. It uses the predator's own momentum against it, forcing a moment of lost control. In this contest of survival, there is no room for hesitation, where every low bush and zigzag run can disrupt the angle of attack from above. Yet with seasoned experience, the eagle quickly spreads its wings to correct its flight path within a fraction of a second. It continues the pursuit with patience, adjusting its approach and closing in with precision to regain control of the situation. Even with a success rate below 30%, persistence keeps the opportunity alive. In the wild, the balance can always shift for those who refuse to yield. The breeding season turns a high nest into a race against time. The constant calls of the chicks place intense survival pressure on the parent eagles. To meet growing energy demands, they are forced to expand their hunting range. Beneath cold waters, protein-rich prey becomes a critical target. Carrying the weight of this responsibility, the male eagle tackles the complex challenge of light refraction. From distances of over 2 miles, its sharp vision locks onto the faint shimmer beneath the surface. It draws in, then commits to a decisive descent along a carefully calculated path. In an instant, the brain adjusts the angle of approach to compensate for visual distortion through water. With a precise contact, the calm surface erupts into a burst of white spray. Its talons extend to secure the target, while broad wings generate stable lift. Each movement is carefully coordinated, lifting this valuable source of energy back into the open sky. Through persistence and resilience, the parents ensure the rapid growth of their young, passing on the instincts that will define the next generation. On the grasslands of Australia, a kangaroo weighing over 100 pounds represents the raw strength of the ground. Facing it, the wedge-tailed eagle, with a wingspan close to 7 feet, circles patiently, testing the limits of its opponent. The aerial hunter descends from a blind angle to create surprise, but the kangaroo quickly braces itself, using its tail as a solid support to respond with force. The significant difference in weight prevents any sustained aerial advantage, leaving a clear lesson behind. Survival depends on knowing when to disengage. Moving from Australia to the grasslands of North America, the fox emerges as a small yet highly cunning predator. It relies on sharp hearing and consistently uses low brush and rock crevices for cover. The eagle does not rush its descent, instead maintaining a wide circling pattern concealed within higher air currents as it waits. When the critical moment arrives, a rapid approach is executed to cut off the path toward shelter. In contrast, a lone wolf separated from its pack faces far greater risk. The margin of safety can vanish in an instant under a powerful approach from above. At this unforgiving edge, even a single delayed reaction can determine everything. The water's edge becomes a front line where prey and predator meet head-on. A single moment of hesitation allows the crocodile to gain control and draw the encounter into deeper water. There is no warning, only a sudden move that overwhelms the animal's ability to respond. In the wild, survival often depends on whether a response comes in time. Beneath the dense canopy of the Amazon rainforest, the jaguar stands as a predator that commands both land and water. Unlike many big cats, it delivers a bite force of around 1,500 pounds per square inch, among the strongest in its class. This strength is used with precision, allowing the jaguar to challenge even heavily protected opponents. Its opponent is a caiman measuring over 6.5 feet, well adapted to murky water and always ready in ambush. The approach unfolds quickly while the river surface remains still. From an elevated bank, the jaguar lunges down, placing its full weight onto the opponent's back. The water erupts with powerful tail movements as the caiman attempts to break free. Even so, the predator targets a weak point in the caiman's defense, using precise positioning to shift control of the encounter. The intense movement soon begins to fade as control shifts toward the attacker. The Amazon current soon returns to its quiet state. The encounter soon ends as the animal is drawn toward the bank, closing a brief yet decisive struggle. In this environment, success does not come from strength alone. It comes from the ability to read an opponent's structure and act at the exact moment. The African buffalo appears as a solid defensive force. An adult can weigh around 1,500 pounds with a thick shoulder build and horns that form a natural shield across the forehead. On dry ground, they are strong enough to make many predators hesitate. But as the herd moves toward the water's edge, the balance begins to shift. The Nile crocodile does not engage the herd directly. It waits for an opening. That moment appears when a young individual drifts from the protective circle, or when an adult pauses on unstable mud. At very close range, a well-timed surge can disrupt the riverbank within seconds. Buffalo rarely allow their formation to break. When a threat becomes visible, leading individuals turn their horns outward, tightening the group and pressing back toward the water's edge. With steady footing and angled retreat, they hold their ground on the shallow sand. This forces the ambush predator to release pressure and withdraw. Even so, the situation becomes more uncertain with younger, less experienced crocodile. A single moment of separation can quickly shift the advantage. At the boundary between land and water, the outcome is never fixed. It depends on which side controls the space at the right moment. The Nile crocodile stands as a symbol of Africa's hidden power. It lives among rivers, lakes, wetlands, and the uncertain edges of the shore. Thick, armored skin, a heavy body, and a powerful tail give it a clear advantage. It does not rely on constant speed, but on precise timing. And in the wild landscapes of Africa, a calm water surface is never truly safe. Nowhere does the scale of the migration appear more clearly than in the Serengeti. Herds of wildebeest stretch to the horizon, forming a living current across the grasslands. Each individual weighs around 550 pounds, yet even in vast numbers, they must face unpredictable bottlenecks along the journey. To reach new grazing grounds, they are forced to cross the Mara River. Beneath the murky water, Nile crocodile up to about 16 feet long wait in stillness. They remain close to the surface, exposing only their eyes and nostrils, blending into the current like drifting logs. As the herd presses toward the riverbank, the pace of survival quickly intensifies. Strong currents, steep edges, and pressure from behind can disrupt their formation. A single misstep is enough to create an opening for those waiting below. The crocodiles do not need to pursue over distance. They rely on precise timing, letting the current and spacing bring a target within reach. With a bite force reaching around 3,700 pounds per square inch, they hold a commanding advantage in deeper water. Most of the herd eventually clears the crossing and continues toward the green plains ahead. Yet each passage leaves behind a quiet lesson in survival. In the Serengeti, the crocodile is not only a hidden presence beneath the water, but also a silent force that helps sustain the balance of the grassland ecosystem. On the open grasslands, a herd of deer survives through alert eyes and constantly attentive ears. Weighing around 130 pounds and capable of speeds near 50 miles per hour, they can often move away from danger with ease. But in the late afternoon, the need for water draws the herd toward isolated pools. At these slippery edges, the margin of safety begins to narrow. Beneath the murky surface, the Nile crocodile operates in a completely different way. It remains nearly motionless, waiting for subtle vibrations from the shoreline. There is no need for pursuit, only precise timing when a target enters an effective range. This patience allows it to maintain an advantage without expending much energy. When one deer lowers its head to drink, a gap briefly forms in the herd's awareness. Using pressure sensors along its jaws, the crocodile moves in with a short, sudden motion, shifting the encounter in an instant. The herd reacts and scatters, leaving the water disturbed before it gradually settles again. In this environment, success does not come from speed, but from timing. Ambush along the water's edge allows the crocodile to conserve energy and maintain control. In the wild, even the smallest misstep can change the outcome. The hippopotamus appears like a living fortress in shallow water. An adult can weigh around 3,000 pounds, with broad shoulders and a massive frame. Like the Nile crocodile, it remains closely tied to water, as its skin must stay moist under intense heat. With a jaw that can open close to 150 degrees, this animal is known for its strong territorial nature. At the edge of the marsh, the line of survival becomes fragile when a young individual drifts beyond its mother's protection. A Nile crocodile uses that moment to move in from the murky water. It does not need to travel far, only to wait for the right distance to gain the element of surprise. The tension rises immediately as the surface begins to shift, drawing attention from nearby crocodiles. Yet the defensive response unfolds instantly, without warning. A male hippopotamus detects the threat and surges forward through the cloudy water to close the gap. It opens its mouth wide, revealing tusks nearly 20 inches long, creating enough pressure to force the crocodile to adjust its approach. Others nearby follow, increasing the pressure from multiple directions. Under that force, the ambush predator withdraws toward safer water. As the river settles again, the crocodile remains a formidable presence across the landscape. But against the overwhelming mass of the hippopotamus, retreat at the right moment becomes the most effective survival choice. At the peak of the dry season, the Nile Basin turns into a harsh survival arena. As grasslands fade to gold and waterways shrink into muddy wetlands, all life is forced toward the few remaining water sources. For lions, this water is essential, yet filled with risk. At the edge, the advantage of a land predator is no longer absolute. As the pride guides its younger members across the shallow stretch, their focus is the strip of grass on the far side. But beneath the still surface, a Nile crocodile weighing over 1,100 pounds lies hidden in deep mud. It senses the slightest vibration, waiting for the right moment to move in. A single misstep can shift the entire balance. When one young individual drifts from formation, the crocodile surges forward from the murky water. The moment unfolds quickly, forcing the adult lions to change direction and guide the group away from danger. In that brief disruption, the separated individual faces a clear disadvantage. Even for adult lions, moving through water remains a major challenge. One misplaced step can trigger a response from predators concealed below the surface. In this environment, strength on land no longer defines control. Control belongs to the one that masters the space. After the strike, the ground returns to stillness, as if nothing had happened. But for the prey, the sky is no longer an empty, harmless space. The eagle reveals that true power lies in choosing the right moment. In nature, survival is not only about speed, but about seeing in the right direction. Press like and subscribe to follow more of nature's most dramatic survival moments.